All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. God bless you wherever you are. Pour those blessings out on you, on you, on you. Yes, let it rain blessings. Oh, what a day. Well, I started the day out just like I suggested you all do the other day. I got up, flushed my sinuses, right? We all got to clean the sinuses. And I went in and fixed me a nice smoothie breakfast. And then the phone started ringing, and the phone kept on ringing. Anyway, it's been insanity. I get a lot of things done I'm supposed to get done. Took my meds on time, drank a big glass of water to start my morning. And of course, the water I'm drinking is Kangen water. So that gives me my refreshing shot to the brain. And I had a nice cool shower. Started out hot, and hot's not good because it takes all of your oils, strips your oils, and you don't want that. And then plus in the morning, you don't want to be going to sleep, right? You want to be awake and stimulated. And when you take a cool shower, as you know, okay, let me just go through this a little bit because some of you may not have heard this on some of the previous shows. But if you are out in the wilderness or in the cold, snow, if you notice your fingers and your toes are the first things that get cold, right? And that's where your frostbite hits first. And the reason it does is because God is so good, let me tell you. He has your body with the furthest extremities. Those are things that get damaged first in the event there's going to be a damage. To protect the organs, the vital organs, the heat of your body draws back into the core of the body. Okay, and that's to protect your organs. You can live without your fingers and your toes, but you can't live without that heart and that kidney, that liver. You can't live without those things, right? The brain. So those are the last things that lose their heat in terms of, being out and exposed in the weather. So this goes to introduce the fact that if you want to have a good flush of brain sense to start your day, you want to have a cool shower, not a warm shower. A warm shower relaxes you. And that's what you want to do before you go to bed at night, so you can relax and fall asleep easily. But in the morning, you can start with a lukewarm shower and then turn your hot water down a little bit at a time, a little bit more, to the point where it's as cool as you can tolerate it. Cold is best, but I'm not for turning it cold and shocking your body, jumping up out of the shower, because that you can get hurt. You can slip and fall doing that, trying to get away from that cold water. But if you gradually turn down the warm water, the hot water, and let it get cooler and cooler, your body will acclimate. And what this does is it forces a good shot of fresh blood carrying those nutrients that you just consumed, with your smoothie, your morning smoothie, into your brain, right? Fresh nutrition into your brain. So, and your organs, your heart and everything else. So this is what you want to do. This is why you want to take that cold shower, as cold as you can tolerate it, and get your brain going first thing in the morning. Don't forget that water, the first thing you should be reaching for is a tall glass of Kangen water. I mean, if you don't have a Kangen machine, I apologize. I'm sorry for you, but that's okay. As long as you get the water in your body, But the best way to go is, of course, go on my website, elcorey.com, and order your machine, Simple as that. It's only a couple $1,000, right? Say, oh boy. But you can do this. You can do this. You can get together with family, and the elder in the family can have it at their home, and everybody can come and get supplies once a week or once a month. They can fill up some 5-gallon things. But it's best to have the water directly from the machine because the alkaline and everything that you have in them, you want it to be fresh, you know. You want it to be fresh out of the machine. But if you don't have that luxury, you can bottle it. You know, it just lasts very long because it's no preservatives in it. So, but anyway, you can refrigerate it and it'll hold like that. Okay, Kangen water if you can get it. Any kind of water, if you can't get the Kangen. Get that water into your body, because it takes time for it to get to your brain. Now that's another thing. With the Kangen water, the molecules are so small that it actually starts to absorb into your bloodstream when it's in your mouth. You know, have you ever drank water and after you drank a glass or two of water, you could hear it shaking around in your stomach? Well, you're not going to have that experience with Kangen water because as it goes into your mouth, it starts to go into your bloodstream, okay? It's absorbed into your bloodstream, in your mouth, in your throat, you know, down your esophagus, in your stomach. It's being absorbed all the way, okay? And so you're not going to have that shaky water slushing around in your belly because it's going to be absorbed into your tissues. Try it. You know, if you have a neighbor or a friend that has a Kangen machine, try it, you know. Sometimes you can call a distributor and get a supply, but I did that for a while. I was running around with gallons of water in my trunk of my car, taking it here and delivering it there, but it's a very expensive proposition, and because we had to supply the bottles, I was running to San Jose and buying cases and cases of bottles, and it was just crazy, and filling them up with water and delivering them to homes and senior homes and bingo halls and any place else where people would gather and just giving them out. But after the first year or two, I had to cut that back. In fact, I don't even have people come to the home and pick them up anymore because it's gotten to the point where you can't have people coming to your home because you don't know who's coming to your home and when they'll decide to come back. Okay, so yeah. But if you can find someone that has a machine, try to get a sample. Okay, what else did I do? I asked my husband to pick up some organic blueberries on his way from work yesterday, but he stopped at the store. They didn't have any organic, and I don't want the other ones. You know, you get enough toxic in your body from just breathing, you know, so you don't want to add it to your body with some food. So I try to avoid as much as I can. Anyway, they didn't have it, but I had some frozen organic berries in the freezer. And so this morning I got some of those out. I got the bag out and opened it up and put it in my mixer. And I put coconut milk in it. I just wanted to have a little change. I put coconut milk in it and a little bit of honey because I wanted it to have a little kick of sweetness. So it was a mixture of berries, and it was nice. Blueberries and raspberries, strawberries. This is a good mixture. And it came out really nice and cold. And what I did was I was so excited. I did so many things, got so much accomplished this morning. I ran outside, got in the car, and was driving out the driveway and realized I left my smoothie in the house. I didn't drink it because I had telephone calls, interruptions, you know. Yeah, you know what I think I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn my ringers off in the house. I'm going to have to I got phones all over the place. I'm going to turn them off. I'm going to have to turn them off and not take any distractions in the morning. And what's so sad about it is usually a family member who knows better. You know, they know not to call me on this morning when I go to do my shows. And what they consider emergencies are not emergencies. You know, somebody might need a ride and they're in a hurry because they're late for an appointment. So they call me from the other side of town to come and pick them up and drive them where they gotta go. No, that's not an emergency. Uber, I'm not your personal Uber, come on. So I'm talking about grown folks too, all right, not kids. So, yeah, what is it about this generation? I'm gonna knock on generation. Here we go. The old lady's knocking on generation. And it looks like every generation does that, right? Always picking on the other one. But it's true. There's, for some reason, the last couple of generations just they don't know what it is to roll with the punches. Okay? I mean, when a hardship comes, you deal with it. I mean, you if it hits you hard, you kind of give into the flow of the hit, and then correct your stance. In other words, deal with your problem as soon as you can. Work on the problem and deal with it. Don't fall all apart and holler help immediately. That's the learning process. You learn to deal with life by dealing with the problems. And they're not necessarily bad things. They're lessons that come up in life, challenges, experiences. Deal with them. Go ahead. Go full speed in. Take care of it. Ooh, it's a little cool in here. Yeah, I should have worn my jacket or a heavier sweater in the studio today. Ooh, they have to keep it cool in the studios because of all the electronics. They build up their own heat, and if they get overheated, you can forget it. They'll be down. So it's pretty cold in all of these studios. Okay, now whatever I was talking about, it's done. It's done. I got out the door and I got down here, and the traffic flowed very smoothly all the way. I didn't have any problems getting here, and although there was a slowpoke in the driveway. And the first thing I did, today, I've been leaving things behind and correcting. I left my phone down in the car. I had to go back down in the car and get the phone. Yes, it's one of those screwball days. And it's a full moon too, isn't it? Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I can't function on a full moon. So at least we won't have to be concerned about earthquakes. Okay, where did that come from? I associate earthquakes with full moons. I don't know why. Probably because I was born and raised in San Francisco. And we associate every little thing we could think of with earthquakes, right? So, yeah, with the full moon, especially with the weather changing, we're going into, we're in fall going into winter. Well, I guess winter's a little ways off, but it's getting cold. And the weather's changing. The other day it was, 70, 75 degrees yesterday or day before yesterday. And then it drops down to 50 degrees. And I'm not aware of what's going on exactly across the country, but it's my understanding, the last I heard, because I don't watch the news anymore, the temperature dropped 40 degrees in one day. Whoa, that'll shock your system. And there's a lot of people, there's supposed to be a very cold winter. It's supposed to be one of the worst winters we've had in years. I don't know, but that's what they're saying. It's supposed to be an early winter and a very cold and long winter. And if that's true, we really got to get together on dehydrating some of the food we've got. If you can pick up a case of vegetables that are in season, and that's another thing too I want to put heavy emphasis on. Try to eat what's in season, because when we bring food in that is not in season in our area, sometimes we're not supposed to be eating that food, So it's best to eat what's in season in the area that you're in. So if you have an opportunity to go to the farmer's market and pick up some of the organic, naturally non-GMO vegetables from a farmer that you trust, pick up a case. Take it home, wash it up, prepare it, and dehydrate. Use some fresh. but dehydrate the rest. Once a week. Try that. Try that once a week. Dehydration is an excellent way to preserve your food for emergencies because most of your nutrients stay in the food. The enzymes and everything, because the only thing you're taking out of the dehydrated food is water. So it's a wonderful thing to dehydrate your food. Freezing and canning is a little, you're going to lose a lot of nutrients, but you will have substance, you will have fiber, and some nutrients. But if you really want to preserve your nutrients and to set aside food for emergencies, that's what you want to do. You want to dehydrate. And you could do that. If you have a gas stove, you could just do that with an old-fashioned pilot light. Or you can get one of these ovens they have now that has the dehydration dial on it. They have, convection ovens that you could dehydrate the food in, small amounts. And you can also just buy a dehydrator. Now, there's old-fashioned dehydrators they had back in the 70s that stacks. You have to stack it up, and you can set that in and use it. It doesn't use very much electricity because it's low voltage usage. And over a period of time, someone said that in some of the hot areas like Vegas and so forth, the desert areas, that you could just set some stuff in the back seat and it'll dehydrate. And it's really funny, the back seat of your car, And it reminded me of my mother. And we used to go over the grapevine because she had family down in Los Angeles. In fact, she had a sister down there named Elise. And we used to, at least in the summertime, we'd go down that way. At least once. And we had this old car. I can't remember what it was, but we called her Rockabye Baby because it had bad shocks. And my mother would get so angry because sometimes we'd start bouncing in the back seat, just bounce in the car, bouncing, which is dangerous because it would bounce out of control, And she'd start yelling, "Stop it! You can't stop it! Just stop it!" We used to do some crazy things. We didn't realize how dangerous it was. I remember going over the Mission Passway. I think down by Mission Vallejo, there used to be a passway we used to go up to get to the valley. From San Francisco, we'd come across the bridge and go over the pass. Anyway, and we were going up this, it was one lane, or was it 2 lanes going? No, I guess it was probably 1 lane. I'm trying to remember. I was maybe like 7, 8. And it was 1 lane going up the hill and 1 lane coming down. And if it was a truck behind you, you had to wait for an opportunity to go around to the truck because they had these big rigs that were going up the hill too. And it might have been 2 lanes, but I remember it as being 1. And the reason I remember it as being 1 is because as we were driving up the road, my mother would occasionally stick her arm out the window and tell somebody to pass her if she was stuck behind a big rig. Well, the smarty aleck kids, including me, would be in the back seat, and we would take turns sticking our arm out the driver's side window and telling cars to pass. And then my mother happened to look up and notice somebody's arm hanging out the window. And she started yelling because every time a car would pass her, she'd have to slow down and stop, And she'd have to let them come in between her and the big rig because they wouldn't be able to go around all the way around the big rig. So they'd have to cut back in front of her. So we did some dingy things. Okay, now, what I was going to talk about was how this triggered my thoughts back to my mother's and riding with her. Now, we didn't have seat belts. Come on now. There was like 9 kids in the car. And there was only a bench seat in the front and a bench seat in the back. And no shocks. Bouncy, 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 bounce. Anyway, here we are going up the grapevine. And when you went up the grapevine back in those days, you always had to stop partially up up the hill and get water. You had to put water in your radiator because everybody's radiator would boil over. Okay, so there was always a line of people waiting at this. I guess it was an artesian well there, and to get water, for the radiator. So anyway, we went to a rest area after we got water, and there was babies in the car. I think it was my youngest sister, I think it was at the time, and we needed to warm up the baby bottle. And you know how she did it? This is where this dehydrated in the back seat got me. She warmed up the baby bottle by setting it in the radiator. Okay? She set it down in the radiator just for a few seconds till it warmed the milk. And then I know the things that you do when you need to be able to get by. But talk about old is new and healthy too. But we didn't have radiator fluid in there. It was just water. And that's the reason it boiled out so quickly when you were going uphill. So, okay. Something else that she did was cooking eggs on the hood. She didn't set it on the hood. She set it on the pan on the hood. And sometimes she would set the pan on the radiator because the radiator was hot, and she'd crack a couple of eggs in there. Now, this is in the rest area. And it wasn't their official rest area. It was just kind of like a pull to the side. Guess what they had then, But anyway, when the guy made the comment about dehydrating food in the back seat on a hot day, I'm sorry, it just flashed back. And I had to share that with you because it was a funny time. We looked back. My mother didn't think it was funny. She was just trying to make it, okay? And, yeah, I remember going to visit my Aunt Elise one time. And can you imagine, she had a penthouse apartment in Los Angeles. And she had this plush white carpet. And she had this looked like marble tile in her kitchen. And here we come in, all of these kids, Now, I don't think Elise had any children. But she sure didn't have a tribe like my mother's. And so she told my mother to have the kids come in the house. And I remember walking on her plush, white, fluffy, cloud-like carpet. And she would have us, she'd put down paper so we could walk into a trail to go back into the kitchen. Yeah, I remember Aunt Elise. So, but anyway, yeah, we were a mess. And Mama took us every place she went to. I'm telling you. Here comes Marion and those kids. Okay, now, they said the engineer says, I don't have any time. Am I out of time? Oh, no, I'm out of time. God bless you guys. I've run in my mouth, and I didn't talk about anything positive. Silliness, But I want to share some other things. Okay, next time. God bless you. You know I love you. Bye-bye.